I am driving up in PA, starting to head to work. It is a beautiful day. It's snowing pretty decently, but beautiful nonetheless. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that was brought up a couple times recently. First, a few months ago, then a couple times more recently in the past couple days. And it is something that gets a lot of traction when it gets shown on social media. And I'm referring to those videos where they have, wrestling seems to be the thing, where they have a regular, normal wrestler throw a match against a kid that has CP, cerebral palsy. And it gets a lot of, engagement, and people are, all about the feels when these things get shown. And I gotta be honest, there are not many things to me that are more cringeworthy than those videos. Now, I'm gonna give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt, right? People want to be empathetic. People want to, they want to be grateful for the things they have going for them. And for a lot of people, the majority of people, one of the things they got going for them is they don't have cerebral palsy, right? So I know the knee-jerk reaction to seeing something like this is, oh, good for him. I'm glad he went out there. Or, giving all this praise to the other kid for, choosing to lose a match. Well, here's the thing. I happen to have some specific experience working with the physically challenged population, right? So I used to work for a camp. I was a camp counselor and supervisor and all around just incredible dude at a camp called Camp Oakhurst. And I did it when I was much younger, right out of high school for a few years. And one of the best experiences of my life. And all the kids there, they had some sort of physical disability, whether it was cerebral palsy, spina bifida, some form of paralysis, sometimes through trauma, sometimes, deformities, and a bunch of other different characteristics. But the commonality were they, to varying degrees, were all physically challenged. And having worked with that population, having worked with those kids for a few years, it gave me an incredible insight as to how these kids look at their lives, how these kids look at what they're capable of doing, and also, and this is worth noting, what these kids consider to be normal. Being able to shoot a double leg and win a wrestling match is not normal, right, for these kids. And this is a generality, obviously varying degrees of disabilities. So that notwithstanding, for the most part, these kids know that their experience with athletics and basically their physicality is going to be different than kids who don't have such disabilities. So what's normal to them is not what's normal to us. Well, not only that, but their normal is a state of being that the majority of us would have to endure some sort of negative experience to sort of bring about. So if you were born without any physical disabilities and some traumatic event happened and you wound up being reduced in your physical capabilities to what is normal to a bunch of these kids, then your outlook, your perspective, the paradigm, the lens through which you're looking at your life would arguably be much different than the kid who's never known anything different than what he's capable of doing, what he can and can't do. So when I see these videos, let's get to these videos, number one. I was so encouraged a few days ago when a former camper of mine who's on my Facebook page, and I'll give him a shout out, Mike Favor. He's actually a budding comedian, and so give him a shout. Go give his page a like, a share. His content's out there. He's starting to perform and stuff, and I want to support him as much as possible because he is a funny little bastard. But one of the things that he did when sharing this video was he said, I'm glad social media, I'm paraphrasing, I'm glad social media wasn't around back when I was a kid, so I couldn't be, made one of these feel-good poster boys. And basically, a lot of people chimed in of similar physical disabilities, people that he's grown up with, and they were reiterating, they were supporting, sharing the same sentiment. And it's a sentiment that I've had, from the beginning when first seeing these types of videos. Now, these kids, their normal is their normal. Because their normal is not our normal, it doesn't give us the ability, or it doesn't give us the right, certainly not the moral high ground, to look at them as if they should be pitied because their experience is not our own, because their capabilities are not our own. If you've ever gone, a day in your life where somebody was pitying you and you felt that that pity was unjust, was undeserving, then you should understand what these kids look at these videos like. Now, here's something I would add. If you find an adult or a kid who looks at those videos and thinks it's great, I mean, I probably imagine the kid that was in the video thought it was great. I would still be sitting here telling them it's cringeworthy. The reason being, having somebody reduce his power in order to make the other person feel more powerful is what we do to little children to sort of model what confidence can be in them, right? We want to sort of make them feel good about themselves. We want them to build up confidence. We want to start drawing associations to a pride in their individuality. But the problem is, it ends very shortly after that. Once you've established that pride, that acknowledgement in one's own individuality, then what should be incentivized is the work, the effort, the progress that's made as a result of that hard work and effort. Taking that teenage boy and allowing him the facade of winning a wrestling match, there is not a person that thinks he accomplished anything there. I, secretly hope that, like, in private, he and his friends laugh, telling themselves, or each other, like, watch, I'm going to get these people to have this kid throw a match because they feel sorry for me. And I can only hope that he and his buddies are laughing about it behind the scenes. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. And the people who want to sit here and spout off the feel good, it's just a kid, it was great that this other kid let him do that. Like, listen, we are already suffering in a society that people don't have a functional relationship with struggle. When I was a kid, it was sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Now, all of a sudden, you can get sued for calling somebody the wrong pronoun that they want to be called. We already know that we're losing touch with all of the virtues that allowed us as a society to become so strong. You have to understand that there's a certain point where we have to start making decisions one way instead of the other, because we're all at fault for this. We're all, we're all culpable. We've all participated in the conspiracy of reducing society's power. And if we look and we ask ourselves, what kind of decisions can we start making that we were making otherwise? I would offer this video and these types of videos and these types of sentiments up as evidence of that, an example of that. These kids that are born with cerebral palsy, they are capable. They're very capable. I don't know the exact disease that Stephen Hawking suffered from, but it was a degenerative disease, and he did an incredible amount of powerful work once that disease started taking its toll on his body. Once he lost his ability to be physical beyond what participatory communication he was able to muster, he was still very capable in terms of value, in terms of overall value. And that sentiment, that virtue, needs to be propagated, needs to be incentivized. That's what we need to start giving kids pats on the back for. Not the kid with cerebral palsy that still hasn't won a wrestling match. Not the kid who threw the match as if he actually did something worth a shit. What we need to incentivize are those kids who refuse to be coddled, refuse to be sort of taken care of and pitied when they could do for themselves. Great example of that is my boy Mike Favor, who I believe he has spina bifida. It might be CP. Mike, don't get mad at me. All you kids used to look the same. But now he's doing his thing in the world of comedy, and I hope he continues to do so. But as usual, haters are going to hate. That's why they call them haters. But those of you guys that have struggled any time in your life and have put forth the effort to sort of overcome those obstacles, you understand what I'm selling here. And I think you'll be in agreement with me. All right, folks. Appreciate you guys listening. Talk to you guys soon. Pushing the power.